Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the new Salomon Highpath Snowboard, their high-end green all-mountain freestyle board. This board features Salomon's rock-out camber profile, which is cam rocker, but it's a more mellow camber into rocker in the tip and the tail. This is going to make it easier to initiate the load, pop, snap, and drive from that camber section, but it's going to give you ease of entry in and out of turns from that rocker, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is available in 146, 150, 153, 156, 159, 162, 159 wide, 162 wide, and 165. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day, 0 winds, warmer temps. There was hot pow, chop, chunder, corduroy, kind of just a mix of mid-season conditions, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. Alright, so I don't really care what they say about this board. It's soft. It's just soft through and through. I'm not the only one that noticed that it's soft. Right where the tips are with that rocker, softer. A little stiffer through the middle with a lot of torsional flex. This board's soft. It's below a middle of the road overall. Now when it comes to stability, yeah, bend your knees. Like if you're on a groomer and you're just cruising around, you're fine. The second you charge into rutted out terrain, you're gonna feel everything with it. This is one of those boards, you know, you start the day out, it's nice, you're like, oh, you know, this isn't that bad. This board's a little more damp than I thought. It's still lively, it's still reactive, but it's damp. But as the day goes on, your knees start to take a hammering and you start to realize, you're like, no, this board isn't damp. It's just highly reactive and lively. You feel everything. You need to keep your knees bent, because if you don't, you're probably going to get bucked around. The camber profile on this board is really easy to engage. In fact, you don't even notice that you're loading it up as you roll back and spring off the tail. It takes next to no effort whatsoever. This board actually has really good pop. The problem is, if you manhandle it, you'll fold the tail and then you lose that spring because it's starting to wash out on you. So if you're one of those aggressive guys that likes to really load up and really spring off your tail and you just put a lot of effort into it, you're probably gonna fold it. Now, when you don't do that and you hit the limitations of it, it boosts exceptionally well. It's actually a really easy board to get up in the air, and it's lighter weight. So for those of you that always complain, my board's heavy, yeah, you're probably going to be able to pop with it. Now when it comes to jumps, it lets the lip do the work and it throws you a little further when you really do push into it. Would I go hit bigger features with it? No, not at all. It's not damp enough, and I'd be worried that I'd wheelie out on the tail just because it doesn't feel as secure as other boards in the Salomon lineup. Can it hit jumps? Yes, no problem. So first off, the board's soft, and then you put rocker in the tip and the tail. That's going to give you the ultimate platform to lock into a nose or tail butter. You really never have to worry about it. And if you're a hulk of a man that really wants to manhandle the board, you're probably going to overflex it and it's going to kick out on you. But if you know what you're doing and you know how to perfectly balance your weight into the flex and lock those flex points, you never worry about it. It's gonna be able to butter. Now with jibbing, because it's so floppy, it's really easy to press this board. In fact, you can kind of over press it if you get too aggressive, but nose press, tail press, it locks in, it holds. When you go sideways, this board just cradles right around the feature. You notice that. It feels secure, it feels locked in. You don't really have to worry about it. It's solid. Can you over manhandle it? Yes, you can. So the edge-to-edge transmission on this board is smooth and fluid, but you have to be aware that there's limitations with it. If you really drive into that tail, you're gonna fold it. It just can't handle it. That's what it is. Now, medium mellow carves with the kind where you're swooping from one side of the trail back to the other, it's great. It's when you really drive into it, you're laying it over and you're pushing from the center back through the tail that you start to notice its limitations, and it will kick out on you. And believe me, it will. I did numerous times. It just doesn't have that rigidity that you would expect from a board like this to really be able to just stay on top of everything. It's good for like setup carves, medium swoopy mellow carves, and the occasional long hard carve. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of just your resort cruiser where you're not ripping turns all the time. Who's this board for? The eco-friendly all-mountain freestyle rider that wants a softer flex. You know, someone that shops at REI and buys their groceries at Whole Foods. So I rarely say this, but I think this is one of those boards you want to upsize on just due to the flex. I know they're saying this is on the stiffer side. It's not. It's soft through and through. I mean, realistically, the 59 or even something in the low 60s probably would have been better. I mean, normally like 56, 57 is my all-mountain freestyle size. This, no, it's just too soft. It needs more girth to it. It needs to just be stiffer. It's not. Now, with that said, it's a fun ride and it's versatile. You just have to learn the limitations. Once you learn them, you're like, this isn't so bad. It's just when you really want to push it to the limit that you start to notice that you got to pull it back a little bit. One thing I will say is I noticed the side cut didn't feel hooky on this. Then again, I didn't ride it on sheet ice. Sometimes when I ride their boards on icier conditions, I feel like the side cut is a little hooky and it kicks out. It just doesn't grip as well. This one, I didn't really notice it with it. Comparable boards, the Telos Mike Rankwit, the Jones Stratus. Binding recommendations, the Salomon Rhythm, the Union Strata, the K2 lineup. This has been my review of the Salomon Highpath. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you gonna buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.